Well, you guys, I didn't think that they could do it. After the abysmal release that was Destiny 2 Lightfall, and if you guys want to go see that video and my opinions on it, that was actually the first climate report I ever made. I'll link it in the top right and towards the end of the video. After that dismal release and story and campaign, Strand was pretty cool. I think that was like the only positive from that DLC. Anyway, we finally got a deeper dive into the final shape, and I gotta say, I'm kind of surprised that they did this because it looks pretty cool. Their marketing and their trailers have always been really rad, but this time it was just pretty much gameplay only, and it looks like so much fun. The one thing Bungie's always been really good at when it comes to Destiny and Destiny 2 is the gameplay, whether it be the supers or the guns or just the abilities in general. They've always done a phenomenal job making them fun and making you feel like an absolute powerhouse. With that gameplay reveal, we also got a big look into a bunch of new stuff. I'm sure, as you all know by now, we've got a new subclass, which is the Prismatic subclass. This is going to be the third Darkness subclass, but at the same time, it's not just a Darkness subclass, it is a combination of light and dark. So, yes, you heard me right. You will have a light bar and a dark bar, I suppose is what you'd call it. And what you can do is you can activate this sub super thing called Transcendence. Whenever you do that using your Prismatic subclass, you can deal both light and darkness damage and a bunch of new grenade types and weapon damage bonuses and all sorts of cool stuff. It looks pretty rad. Honestly, I can't do it justice by talking about it. You gotta check out the video. I'll just do a brief look through. But it looks super rad. So as you can see, he's throwing, I mean, right off the get-go, you can see he's throwing a stasis, I can't remember what they're called, but the little stasis shuriken. He's got his strand grapple hook thing equipped, and he's got invisibility. So two darks and a light, which is absolutely wild. It looked like he threw a solar grenade there, but I can't tell. And then obviously there's an arc super. So it looks really rad. I mean, come on, you can't watch this and not think that just looks absolutely badass. So yeah, you can use both the light and the dark. It's pretty freaking cool. This is a subclass deep dive. It's just showing off more gameplay, more combinations. And yeah, honestly, I'm super pumped for this. Now, I'm a little upset that we're not seeing a dedicated dark super and then maybe with this on top. But honestly, at the same time, I'm glad we're seeing it because initially I didn't think we were going to get another subclass for this DLC. So I'm really happy to see that they actually went all in and said, you know what? Let the players customize their own subclass. It's time for you to be a guardian, being able to master the dark and the light. So I really do think from a lore aspect, it's really badass, but also just from a gameplay perspective. I mean, I've already expressed my opinion. Anyway, I'm super hype about that. That was a big pillar of what they had to show off. That was a huge selling point. So pretty cool stuff. We got new build crafting possibilities. So further customization with your build and the prismatic stuff, with your gear, your weapons, artifacts, so on. You're really going to be able to fully customize your guardian this time around, which is really rad. It shows off some gameplay with all three classes: Hunter, Warlock, Titan. And then we also got exotic class items, which is going to be really interesting. They specifically work with the Prismatic subclass, and they will roll with 2 random exotic perks, inspired by other exotic armor pieces, even from different classes. So as a Warlock, you could get an exotic perk from a Hunter or a Titan, so on and so forth. It's we're gonna have to see how this ends up because honestly, the balancing is out the window. It's not like Destiny 2's ever been properly balanced when it comes to PvP, but now it's truly just. I'm not even gonna touch Crucible because I know how ridiculous it's gonna get. I mean, balancing truly is just chucked out the window. They just said screw it. let the players do what they want. But at the end of the day, I'm still really excited. I think it looks pretty cool. The exotic class items actually look pretty sweet. The Warlock Bond's a little underwhelming, but, you know, it's a Warlock Bond, unfortunately. But the Cloak and the Titan Mark especially, they just look really cool. And they've got that prism aesthetic to it. And then, for the first time in over 10 years, we're finally getting a dedicated, brand new enemy faction, except for these two guys. The Subjugators are the Witnesses, big boys. They're based on Rolk from Vow the Disciple raid, the final boss. And then the Tormentors, which we've already seen as well, are based on Nezarec from Root of Nightmares raid. So these three guys are familiar because they're just basically lower versions of those two raid bosses. But these guys are brand new, which are really cool. They're the Grims, I think, which are basically bats with guns. So that's kind of a cool little thing. And then these two are taken. They're basically taken Scions, but, you know, reforged in the Witness's image. So a little bit of reusability there. You know, with older enemy types, not a big deal. I'll take it. I'm sure they'll do something pretty cool. I know this one freezes you, this one pulls you in according to the developer gameplay, so I think that's pretty sweet. So these are the husks, and then they've got the those little Geist, Giratina Pokemon looking things that jump out of their bodies when you defeat them, basically. And they'll come at you and basically kamikaze you. Anyway, new faction. I'm really excited for this. I'm glad they went all out and finally made something new and fresh, because I have been begging for a new enemy faction for years. I think we all have, to be honest. So I'm very excited to see that. And then they just showed off some of the new enemies in terms of gameplay, what they can do. Like I said, this one can freeze you, this one can pull you in, this one just melees you, basically. And then these two are, think Rolk, but like a little more elegant, but will still like deal big damage. And then the Tormentors are obviously like the big bruisers, like they're gonna rush you with their big old scythe and just kind of come at you. And then I'm assuming, based on just how the Grims look, they're gonna be kind of like Shriekers from Helldivers, where they're just gonna overwhelm you. So that's gonna be pretty rad. But honestly, with the amount of customization you're gonna be able to build with your new Prismatic subclass, you're gonna be able to deal with these guys pretty easy, I think, or at least fairly easy. I don't know how they're gonna deal with that, just because of how OP the Prismatic subclass is starting to look, but I'm sure they're going to balance it fairly well, at least for the PvE aspect. But for PvP, it's no question completely broken. Yeah, I'm excited. You know, like I said at the beginning of the video, Lightfall was a huge disappointment for me personally. Maybe you liked it. I know that Root of Nightmares was a decent raid, but it was super short, and I honestly, once I got the shotgun, I just didn't feel like going back in and playing it. I didn't care for it. It wasn't my favorite. It was still a good time, but it just was not my favorite personally. Maybe you enjoyed it. I like stories in video games, and I've definitely been following Destiny's lore for a very long time now. I've been playing this game since, you know, beta of D1, so I've been around a long time, and the story used to be bare bones, nothing, and mysterious, but in kind of a good way, whereas now it's like they're just creating mystery for the sake of it, kind of just a cop-out. It just doesn't feel right. But anyway, that's my little rant. Like I said, go watch that Lightfall climate report if you want to see my full thoughts. But yeah, anyway, that is the final shape. I'm excited. I think it looks rad. Hopefully it delivers on story, because we seriously need something spectacular. The gameplay looks like it's going to deliver. They always deliver with gameplay, let's be honest. Strand was really cool in the last DLC, so I think here they're going to deliver it fat, and they're going to do it justice. But story is what I'm really concerned about, because they have got to deliver a satisfying finale for the Light and Darkness saga. It's not the end of Destiny. Unfortunately, I wish this was the end of Destiny 2. Maybe they move the episodes out in like a Destiny 3 format. I know a lot of people are gonna, you know, give me backlash on that, on the whole Destiny 3 should be a thing, but let's be real, this game's been out for 7 years. I think it's about time we get something fresh. Everybody gets a hard reset, and we just begin again. I mean, even if they do it kind of like Overwatch 2 did, and just like make all of the legacy content on D2 stay on the D2 platform, and then they move D2, basically copy paste it over into a D3, but completely build and revamp and you know, graphic overhauls, gameplay overhauls, just rework everything and then rename it D3, I would be a little more satisfied with that option. I know that's a little controversial as well, but honestly, in the state that it's in, I think they could pull it off with some justice. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I'm a little concerned for the story, but overall, I think the gameplay, the enemy types, the new subclass, I'm sure the weapons are going to be cool, and the new exotic class items, they look like they're going to deliver. So yeah, I'm excited. Count me in for Final Shape. Anyway, moving forward, they just released Into the Light, which is basically their pre-Final Shape DLC update thing. You know, it's cool. I played probably, I don't know, 2 hours of it so far. Onslaught's pretty rad. It's nothing we haven't really seen before, aside from being able to, like, build defenses. I think that's the only thing that's really brand new to this whole wave-based mode. But, you know, it's pretty fun. It's pretty cool. They did a good job. I enjoyed it. I'm going to continue to enjoy it. So, yeah. And I'll definitely have some gameplay playing right as we talk about this. So yeah, that's a good thing, but here's something I don't really care for, and that is the Brave Arsenal. It's a bunch of reprised weapons that a majority of us worked really hard to get in the past, such as Mountaintop and Recluse, and there's a couple more in there, but those are the two big ones that I remember grinding my ass off for. So to see them come back, I'm glad it's free. I can't complain that it's free, but to see them come back reprised is kind of a kick to the balls, because it's like I worked really hard for them, and it sucks to just see them come back for the sake of it. But it is what it is. They're free, they're back. It's going to be fun to get them back again. That's about all I got to say about it. The Whisper's getting a reprised exotic quest. I did that last night at the time of making this video, and basically it's just craftable now. You can do your Catalyst quest after you earn the weapon frame, and the weapon frame will give you the build basically right away. And then I know May 14th they're going to do the same thing but with 0 hours, so you can do a new craftable Outbreak Perfected or Outbreak Prime, whatever they call it nowadays, which is another one of my favorite weapons of all time. I mean, when I earned it back in 2016 with Rise of Iron, it's been one of my favorites ever since. And I know it's not the most powerful gun, but it's just such a fun and satisfying gun to use that I've always really enjoyed using. So being able to craft my own version of that will be really cool. And I'm sure there's going to be meta builds and all sorts of stuff that comes out when that weapon drops. But for the time being, I think it's pretty rad. But yeah, and then you have the Hall of Champions. You can go in and just unlock more of these weapons, masterworks, all sorts of stuff like that. It's a pretty decent update. It's pretty fun. I think the new activity is really dope, but the reprisal of weapons is a little lazy in my opinion, but that's just my take. It definitely gives you Xur's treasure room vibe, where you can kind of just earn your stuff and then unlock it, and then go back into it, grind, come back, unlock stuff, and rinse and repeat, essentially. It's very much like Xur's Treasure Hoard. But yeah, that's it. Honestly, Into the Light's okay. It's an update, right? The mode's really cool, but you know, everything else, it's an update. But Final Shape looks really promising, and I hope they deliver. Anyways, I just wanted to talk about it because watching the gameplay developer reveal, which I really heavily recommend you guys do, it looks pretty rad, and I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty sold on the idea of it. So yeah, what do you guys think? Leave your comments down below. Let me know if I missed anything. Let me know what you guys think about the upcoming DLC. Are you hype? Are you saying, nah, Destiny's dead, I'm gonna leave it be? Because I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of on the hate bandwagon there for a bit until I saw this gameplay developer preview, and it changed my mind positively, for sure. So yeah, leave your thoughts down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. That's about it. Peace out.